Cheers, my thrifting friends. Okay, we are at the Goodwill this morning and we are here to see if we can thrift a vibe that I've been really interested in, and it's called like a thrifted modern elegance vibe, and it's got a lot of beautiful elements to it. Just kind of think Anthropologie-ish, Pottery Barn-ish, that kind of look, but better with vintage pieces mixed, blended modern. So I'm going to head in here. I'm going to see what I can find to create this vibe, and I'm hoping that you guys like what I come up with. So let's take a walk in and see what we can find. This neutral, new looking table caught my eye right away when I walked in. I really like the top of it. I like that wood finish, and at $11.99, that was a great deal if you were looking for something modern. Baskets are definitely part of this vintage modern look, and this one almost fit the bill, but it had some condition issues. At first I didn't see them, but when I looked at the tag, $5.99, I'm like, that's a great price, but then I saw it was missing some of its woven pieces on the lid, so we passed on that. Now this brass lamp is exactly part of the look. I did not get any lamps in this haul, but this would definitely be the look. I didn't grab it because of it had a lot of condition issues on the brass, and they wanted $25 for it. It just didn't have, it had a lot of scratches and burnishing, not just patina, but like literal scratches and burnishing. So I left that behind. And I was considering this lamp. I did really like that paisley print. I thought that was really unusual. It was just really cool, very interesting. Yeah, I really liked that one. But when I went to look in the price on that one, hoping it might be cheaper, it wasn't. So I thought the lamps were really overpriced here today. So I passed on all of them. Now this mirror is exactly what I would recommend getting, very similar. I do end up getting another different mirror, and you'll see in my haul, but this has got like some of what we're looking for, although unfortunately this was damaged, but it's that beveled glass and that really thick frame. That's the kind of look that you're looking for. And the fact that it's 3 panes makes it really interesting and different. So it was a really beautiful piece, mostly for that beautiful beveled mirror. This little side stool was really pretty, $7.99, great price. That would add a great punch of color. All right, so this is one of the key essential elements we're looking for. Really beautiful pedestal type pieces to elevate all your little candles or little interesting odds and ends we're going to put on those. So that's perfect. We're going to throw that right in the cart. A globe is also another really cool piece to have in this look. It just adds interest and whimsy. This one is vintage. It was only $5.99. That's a great price for this. It's just from the 70s. It's like a schoolroom globe, but it's perfect for what we need. This also had a lot of the color and interest to it. It was originally $12 wherever it was sold, probably a Hobby Lobby thing. And then I flip it up, it's still $12 at the Goodwill. So we're going to put that right back on the shelf and keep it moving. This picture, I wasn't really looking for the trend that I'm looking for. It just caught my eye, but at $7.99, that's way too much for that. But because it was like a springtime thing, really pretty. Blue and white is kind of part of this look, but not, it is, but this wasn't the right kind. This looked a little too Easter egg, little too modern. It was $7.99. It was priced too high, so we just left that, but it was pretty. This was stunning. And $9.99 was a great, look at the damage though. It was really hard to overlook that damage. It wasn't just the paint. I mean, you could put gold leaf back over that. It was a pretty good chunk missing. It was an actual chunk, but look how beautiful this vase was. Almost got it. I mean, I think if you were collecting just for yourself, but for resale, the damage on this vase was just too much. All right, so faux greenery or real greenery, but greenery is definitely a part of this look, and it can be in modern containers. That's no problem at all. So that was $3.99. This is definitely you know, the modern kind of look, and that plant was really nice. It was $7.99, but I think the greens were half off. So I grabbed that. So that's going to be part of the look. So these three pieces right here are exactly what I'm looking for. A really pretty organic woven basket like that. That's a great color, but these two pedestals are so perfect, and the price right. $5.99 for the large one. This one's upside down. $3.99. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Sorry I didn't turn that back over. But yeah, those candlesticks and that basket, in the cart they went. Exactly another item that we need for this look. $3.99 each piece. That's perfect. These were heavy metal pineapple candle holders. If they were bookends, it would give the same effect, but that's what we're looking for. All right, I am digressing here in my my vintage mode. This was, yeah, $5.99, and it's really beat up, so we put that back. Okay, back to the vintage modern look. These are, again, more of what we're looking for. Any type of beautiful pedestal. These were $3.99 each, and these are perfect. We're gonna walk these right back over to our cart and add them to this beautiful collection we've got going. This almost kind of is the look. That hammered metal is probably not right, but at $7.99, I only looked at it because of the mixture of the wicker and the metal. That was a really cool mix, but it's way too overpriced, so we left it. This metal piece was also under consideration. It's got a lot of the elements we're looking for, just a lot of interest. You know, a nice metal. I love the design on the corners of it. It's just a candle holder, but this one was too high priced, $7.99. We're trying to keep it affordable, so that one was overpriced and not the color. That was half off. This also was interesting. It was the right price at $3.99, but I don't know, something about it. It just, that hammered look is just, it just wasn't quite what I was looking for. But those were options. They were options. This lamp is exactly the look. It was stunning and beautiful. The reason why I didn't get it was it definitely had condition issues, and because I would be getting these things for resale, I need them to be more perfect. And at $19.99, this just had a lot of scratches, tarnishing, that black pillar in the middle there. I didn't really twirl this around, but as I turned it around, it had scratches on it. There's no way to repair that, so we left that lamp. All right, we're looking for like a more warm, real vintage elements to add into this look, because it is vintage modern, so we definitely want some vintage pieces. And this carnival glass caught my eye, and it was definitely the right price. I believe this was a vintage piece. You'll see when I turn it over, it just had a certain sparkle to it and beauty and heaviness. And yeah, I grabbed that because that's going to look really pretty. Again, I'm off on a tangent. This is something else. It just caught my eye. Okay, $5.99. If that's like a solid piece and this is not a flashed design, then that is an amazing price for that. But I need to really examine this to see what I'm looking at. And oh, there we are. Yep, it's a flash. It's a flashed piece. It's all chipping off. So we're going to walk away from this. But at first I thought it was a good deal, but not really. All right, you guys, I finally found one in the wild. This was stunning. I turned it over. There's the FF. It's a Fitz and Floyd. It's beautiful. And it has no chips, no flaws. It was just really, really dirty. I have since cleaned this up and it looks beautiful. And yeah, I definitely grabbed this. It was gorgeous. So again, I'm looking for more mirrors. This one almost fit the bill, but the design isn't quite what I'm looking for. It's not in the right color scheme. It's not the right subject matter, but the style of the mirror with the gold frame and the artwork on the top, it also was not the right price. So we left it, but it was almost there. I did end up finding one, but I didn't film it, but I will show you in the haul. All right, these candlesticks need absolutely no discussion. We just need to pick them up and put them in the cart. It's that simple. They are made in India. That's fine. That's fine. They're brass, they're candlesticks, they're coming home. All right, let's take a look at what we got and how I styled it. Cheers, my thrifting friends. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Diane, or hello if you're new. It's good to see you. Today I'm going to go through a haul with you. It's a little bit different. I mean, usually I'm like shopping specifically for my store, or I'm just straight up looking for vintage, something like that. But today I went to the thrift store with the specific plan to thrift a specific aesthetic, if you will. So I'm really trying to create this modern, casual, elegance, vintage look. It's a very specific aesthetic, and I think a lot of us actually decorate in this kind of aesthetic without really realizing it, because unless you live in, a legit vintage home, or you're living in a home that might be a newer build, but very true to a vintage style. Like my parents, they built a salt box like in the mid 90s, but it's very authentic to as if they had purchased an actual antique home. They just didn't want to do that. They wanted to build new because they had a lot of property. So yeah, I mean, unless you have that vintage home, sometimes it's hard to really decorate in a vintage style. You have to blend. So that's really what this aesthetic is. It's like vintage, modern, elegance. It's blending modern with vintage, and you end up with this really beautiful aesthetic that's, it's very chic. It's very, to me, it has a lot of like French elegance elements to it. But anyway, that was the goal, to try to like thrift this. And I think I nailed it. So let's go through my haul, and then I will definitely spend some time styling these pieces so that you get a really good idea of how to kind of achieve the look. It's a very pretty look. It's actually very similar to how, my whole house is decorated, because I live in a big open floor plan contemporary. So I don't have a lot of ways that I can really, go all colonial or put a lot of real antique pieces, especially furniture, in my house without it not blending properly. I do use them. We do have them for sure, but I have to use a lot of these other vintage elegant elements to blend it all together. So let's take a look at what I picked up and what some key pieces are to achieve the look. So I'm going to start off with a really key element to the look, and that's grabbing yourself a vintage mirror. So I really recommend trying to find a mirror that has a gold border to it, frame to it. I think you can really achieve this look a lot easier if you do have a mirror like this, and try to find something that's not like a perfect square, something that's got like what you see here, like a scalloped edge, some kind of interest to it. This is the kind of mirror that is kind of like a really good focal point, a good anchor point to put a lot of different things around. And it's very elegant, but it's still casual. And I got this one for $5. So I grabbed this at the thrift store for $5. So you can definitely still find these out there. They're harder and harder to find, but you can still find them. And I'm going to show you how to use this in a really nice grouping, but definitely start yourself off with a beautiful vintage mirror just like this one. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to try to look for is a very unusual vintage, either bookends or candlesticks like these are. You're looking for something that's really unique and good quality, vintage. This is where you really do want to find a vintage piece. You really want to look for something that is definitely older and vintage. I got this these were $3.99 each. So that's an awesome deal for these. They're very, very, very heavy, and I think they're metal. Yeah, these are definitely metal. So you want something like this, and the pineapple is perfect for the look we're trying to achieve. It's got a colonial vibe to it. It's elegant. But yeah, you definitely want vintage, something that matches, like a pair of vintage vases or candlesticks. You're definitely going for a look. You can probably see where this is going to head off to with the mirror. But yeah, these were perfect. I couldn't believe they were just sitting there, and they're exactly what we need to achieve this beautiful, casual, vintage, elegant look. So another element of this look, and I know it sounds weird, but literally some kind of globe. Now, if all you can find is, I know that like Home Goods and TJ Maxx and stuff, they had put out like lots of lines of really small miniature globes. That's fine too. The point is you're trying to get like a little bit of an old world feel to it. I grabbed this one for $5.99, I think. Yep, $5.99. So this one is vintage, but it's 70s vintage, which is totally fine. You're looking for something cool and older and one of a kind, eclectic. Again, if all you can find is something even more modern, obviously from like a decor store, that's cool. But this is ultra cool because it's definitely a probably a classroom one from the 70s for sure. And it just brings that little bit of the world traveler vibe to this look. And something very eclectic and interesting. So I love using globes in decor, especially old vintage ones. And actually, these are very popular as a reseller. After, you know, I am going to be selling this in my store after, you know, we publish the video and everything, but this will sell right away. There is definitely a group of collectors that are always looking for these vintage old globes, and they're a real popular item at the thrift stores for sure, and for reselling as well, like in booths and stuff like that. So anyway, if you can find a globe, that'll really make this look come together. All right, so another element of a vintage modern look is definitely faux greenery. I mean, if you have real plants, obviously that's timeless, classic, and that's what you need. But if you're trying to create something that you won't have to worry about watering or it's always going to look the same, you need to grab yourself some faux plants. Now, I purposely grabbed these two because one of them looks very, I don't want to say like vintage, but more like French country elegant. These, I think they're called nasturtiums, something like that, the little paper whites. Fake, of course, that just has a certain kind of French elegant look to it. And then I grabbed this one because this is obviously brand new, modern. This one was, it says $7.99 on here, but they had 50% off their green tags. So I paid $4 for this. So this is kind of like the mid-century modern look. So again, you're kind of mixing these things, but it's exactly what you need to get that look. And these are so pretty. You're going to see just how pretty these are going to look all mixed together. But yeah, try to find yourself definitely faux greenery and something that looks like elegant French kind of feel, and then something that looks modern, and you'll see it's going to look great together. All right, so the next few things I found fit in the category of you're going to want to find yourself some like natural element, some kind of organic natural element. And what that means is like maybe like a metal kind of leaf type thing, anything you can find that's like bronze or metal in some kind of organic shape, like a leaf, a flower, a leaf, like maybe like a lotus like symbol would work, something like that. And then you want to find yourself something like this wood, big open kind of bowl. I paid $3 for the bowl, and I paid $2 for the metal leaf. So $3 for a bowl like this is actually, that's an awesome deal. I'm going to definitely resell this in my store. I have a couple of these already. That's really beautiful. And then something like this, like a basket of some kind. It doesn't have to be a big one. This one I paid $3.99 for. So something with a lot of texture, very earthy. Organic is really the theme of like a little bit of a collection of organic pieces. If you can find something like a baskety type piece, a wood type piece, and a metal type piece that fall in the category of organic, botanical, something like that, that's what you need to make the look come together of this timeless, modern, vintage look. These three pieces really add a lot of that vibe. All right, so the next thing I want to show you that's part of this look is you're going to want to grab yourself little pops of legit vintage pieces, probably things you already have. So I picked up this beautiful rose plate. So that's just adding, it's pulling in that beautiful vintage, authentic, old, warm comfort feel, if you guys are catching my drift. This was $5.99, but again, the green was half off, so I paid $3 for this. And it's got just the right vibe I'm looking for. I actually found one of these stands. This was 50 cents. I found this one too. So I'm going to use this rosewood stand with this plate in one of the styling segments that I show you. And then like a vase like this. This was $5.99. I paid a little bit more for this probably than I normally would have, but it's carnival glass, I think. Yeah, it's a beautiful vase, a beautiful old carnival glass vase. And it's just the right color. Again, I'm going for warmth. I'm going for vintage warmth. That's the way I can express what I'm going for here. And I think I found it with these three pieces. When they're all mixed together, you'll see it's going to look really pretty. And it's definitely an element of this styling aesthetic. All right, so another piece of putting this whole look together is you're going to want to find yourself a grouping of pedestals. Any kind of, or like candle holders or pedestals. So I was lucky. I actually have quite a few to show you here. There was definitely a lot. When you know what you're looking for, they definitely had a lot of this on the shelves. So these were $3.99 each, but they were half off because they were green. Now, these aren't vintage. The goal here isn't really vintage. The goal is just to find kind of classy, classic, any kind of pedestal candle holder, because you're looking for different heights of things that you're going to want to eventually display. So I got these two gold ones. They were $3.99 each. So I got that. And I got these two mixed metal, like glass and metal. These are perfect. These are literally exactly the look. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So this one was does that say three? No, $5.99. This one was $5.99. This one was $3.99. That's so funny that they're different color stickers. You guys ever see that in your Goodwill where they must be so overwhelmed in the back? Clearly these were donated together because they match. And they must have processed them at different times because they have different colors. But anyway, neither one of them were half off, unfortunately. But this look, these two pieces are exactly what I was looking for. So I got the two gold ones, which you saw, which are the same height. And then I've got these two, which are different heights, but they have beautiful interest to them. That glass, they look almost vintage. They look French. They look vintage, classic, elegant. Yeah, they're ticking all the boxes. These are exactly what you need. And then I just grabbed, just because it was there, like a mercury glass one. So this also has the look of what you're looking for. This one was $3.99. So these are all very reasonably priced. Very reasonably priced. And this is stunning. This is really beautiful. It's like a mercury glass. You can see up close. See that? Yeah. So that definitely has a very vintage feel to it. A very old, aged kind of vibe, but still being warm and classic. That's all the elements that we're going for. So find yourself these kind of candlestick type pedestals that have this kind of feel to them, and you're well on your way to getting this look. All right, so these next two pieces definitely fit the bill of what we're trying to achieve. So again, these are very casual, elegant. They're not antique, they're not even vintage, but that's not the point. The point is you're trying to achieve this vintage, classic elegance, this high-end vintage modern elegance. So these I found these were $6.99 each. Yeah, that's okay. That's totally worth it to me. I think that that's a totally fair price in the Goodwill for these. And they're just a nice cream color. Again, I was looking for anything that, not just a simple one of these. I was shocked I found two. That's amazing, actually, to find two. But I was looking for, I wanted a lighter metal too. I was hoping not to find black. Does that make any sense? I wanted either to find like a lighter metal, a very light bronze, Even like a light wood would have been okay, but the fact that these are light metal, I love them. I love the little medallion in the middle with the little rhinestone in there. So we're gonna put some real candles in here and use them in our styling. And I think you're gonna love the way these look with everything else that I've been showing you. These definitely are what we're looking for, and bonus that we found two that match. That's incredible. All right, so we're almost done. So two more things to show you, like categories. So another element or category to this type of vintage modern elegance look is anything whimsy. Like whimsy and interesting and offbeat or something of interest. You'll know when you see it. If you have a good eye, like me, you'll know when you see it. So this was the very first thing that I saw. Look at this. It's like a, what would you even call this? I don't know, but it was $5.99. No, sorry. Does that say $8? My bad. $8. That's okay. I paid the $8 for this. I paid up. Is that what they call it? This is so cool. The back of it, you see like the inner workings of the clock, but it's in this like glass ball. And then that's the front of it. It's like magnified, like a glass ball. I'm sure the clock doesn't really work, and it doesn't really matter. This is just like it sits on your table. It's like just a whimsy. It's a total curiosity. So anything of like a interest, curiosity like this. And then I found this bird. So this is what you want the pedestals for, by the way. So this is $1. This was $1.99. This blue bird, super pretty. You get the drift, right? And then this is so cool. They're not functional. You really can't use them. They're not functional. They're just these super weathered, aged looking. They were $1.99 for this whole thing. It's just super cool, right? It's just this aged, this is the casual part of the elegance. So it's just a casual, but it's so interesting and so cool in your decor. This really draws your eye to it. I'm a gardener, so of course I find this very appealing, but the way we're going to use this in the decor is just going to be so whimsical and so cute. And all these types of pieces, this is what you're looking for, you know, little birds, just little things that speak to you, maybe in your own interests or whatever, anything that you can find that's very curious and interesting. It just adds to this whole curated, collected, vintage, modern, elegant look. Anything that you can grab that looks very curated. And it is curated because you yourself are looking for it, and it's going to appeal to you. So yeah. All right, so my last element to this look is probably the biggest thing that I found, but I found two of these. So I'm just going to show you really quickly. There's two of them. But take my word for it. I'm going to put the other one down. And I know that this, again, this isn't a vintage thing. We're going for this timeless vintage elegance type look. So this has like a really weathered frame, and I love the metal. This very beautiful medallion design. So you know what this reminds me of? Something like this. So what this reminds me of is like, if you've ever seen like a real tin ceiling in like a real old house, or those medallions that were put on ceilings where like a lamp would hang out the middle of the medallion like that. Do you follow me? The first store that I had in South Hadley, Massachusetts, literally had a tin ceiling that looked just like this. So when you would walk in my store, it was in an old house. I know, it was a dream. And it had a ceiling like this. It was incredible. It was incredible. And when they demolished that home, because it was sold for development, the saddest part of that to me was the loss of that ceiling. It was such a beautiful, I don't know what, I'm sure they just demolished it and it all got ruined. But anyway, my point of this is more like, you don't always have to have like this really old antique, or like I consider like really, and old artwork definitely does fit into it. Unfortunately, the day that I was shopping at the Goodwill, I could not find any artwork, and I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want to, you know, I'm showing you exactly for one trip at the Goodwill, for a vibe that you're going for, you can get a big part of it. But I didn't find any actual artwork. But as soon as I saw these two, and these were only $4.99 each, so that's a bargain for these, and they're pretty good size. And there's two of them. So when I saw this, it just made me still think vintage, still think warm and elegant. And instantly it brought me back to my store where I had that beautiful tin ceiling that was a series of medallions. It looked just like this, and I was like, yeah, this definitely is the vibe. You can still get that vintage feel, but it's modern and warm. We'll make this work. You'll see. It's going to look real beautiful. But anyway, that's my last element of this look, would be some kind of artwork. It can be like this, where it's textural and still reminiscent of something vintage. Or if you're lucky enough to find some actual vintage artwork, that would be cool too. Either way, look for some really nice art pieces. All right, it's a beautiful, stunning day out here. I thought you guys might like to see where we're at with the garden, where John is at. I'm here to bring him refreshments because he's been out here. So let's go see what he's doing. Oh. Oh, wow. He's been bragging to me about how big his tomatoes are getting, and I believe him now. Hey, babe.
Hi.
I brought you something to drink. Oh, wow. That's a lot of work. These beds were full of weeds. Kind of similar to that, what he's working in right now. But now he finished this one right here. So these are all just regular green peppers?
It's a mix of green peppers and hot peppers.
Oh, okay. How can you tell the difference? The green peppers are the bigger ones, right? And the hot peppers are the smaller ones?
The straws are color-coded, so I know what pepper's what.
Oh, okay. He's, here, I'll show you exactly. See the straw at the base of that flower right there? That plant? So what's the blue stripe?
That's a corno de toro.
That's a hot pepper.
No, that's our...
Oh, it's a regular
that's
pepper?
Our
Oh, okay.
house, sweet pepper.
Gotcha. All right.
The tallest one is actually a hot pepper. The tallest one is a Scotch bonnet. But this has to be weeded, and I have to put the block down like I did on the other pepper bed.
This is a, is this like a natural onion that we have left over?
It's a bunching onion.
It's a bunching onion, yeah. So this is a perennial, right? We just leave it every year?
You can do what it wants.
Yep. And then this is that, this is a natural, this is a transplant. What's this right here? A butterfly flower?
Butterfly weed.
Butterfly weed, yeah. It really does attract butterflies, by the way. So this is kind of like a natural gift to have this just naturally come up here as a pollinator, you know, in a garden. So this is when he was talking about he has to put down the weed block. So this is what it will look like when he's completely finished. He'll have all the weed block down and the bricks hold it down, and then it just keeps the weeds down. So these are all going to be pepper plants. So one way that we really preserve the peppers, if we get like a bumper crop, let me see if I can talk, of peppers, usually what we do is we fry them down and can them. So we'll put them in big aluminum foil pans on the grill, and with olive oil. And I think all we do is peppers, right? We don't mix in anything else, like an onion or anything like that?
I mean, we grow so much garlic.
Oh, garlic,
There's
that's
probably
right.
a few cloves that make it in there.
Right, so, and we'll add in some cloves of garlic. So here's what our garlic looks like. So right now the scapes are ready. A lot of people do harvest scapes. What you do with them, I mean, basically if you want to harvest a scape and use it, you just chop it up and use it like a chive, right?
You can use it like a chive, or you can make a pesto.
That's right, or you can make like a chive. I've done that before too. So what we do is, this is the scape part. It's not the whole plant, it's just the top. It's called a garlic scape. And you can like puree them down like in a blender with olive oil. And then what we do is put them in ice cube trays. And then you can freeze that. And then when you want to have like a green garlic flavor to any dish that you're making, can be a sauce, it just can be like roasted chicken or something. You can use your frozen garlic scape pesto cubes to add that flavor instead of buying like jarred garlic. You know what I'm trying to say. It's a really, really nice flavor. And if you have a lot of garlic and you grow it, that's a good way to use your garlic scapes. So if you guys remember from my last video at my mom's house, I was telling her how I was really admiring her, these are torch lilies, and she has yellow ones. And I was telling her, I just have like the reddish colored ones, but she has the ones that are just all yellow. And mine are happy where they are, so they do really good here. Actually, here's the full picture of them. So they're a really beautiful flower. And if they're happy where they are, they do really well in rock gardens. So you can see we have like, obviously this is a landscape rock ledge garden here. And they really like it here. So that's the torch lilies I was talking about. So John and I both love, you know, beautiful garden statuary. We didn't plan on this. I think we were just trying to pick up like a St. Francis statue or something like that. And we saw this guy and he had like a garden shovel with him. We didn't know who he was at the time that we bought him. We bought him at this like Agway place. I don't even know if it's still in business. It's like, it was near Quabbin Reservoir, something crazy like that. But anyway, we took him home, and then when later, look, he's holding flowers too. So later we found out he's Saint Fiacre. Yeah, he's Saint Fiacre, which is, I guess, the patron saint of gardening. I thought Saint Francis was, but he's the patron saint of animals. So Saint Fiacre sits in our garden, and we planted some beautiful roses around him. And yeah, he looks awesome. We love him here. We'll take him with us if we move. All right, so let's get an update more on the tomatoes here. Now, these are the tomatoes that we originally showed you from seed, right? All the way back. So if you guys remember, all the way back to when we had these tiny little seedlings, I showed you John was using like, what are they called? Like a little, literally like tweezers.
Yeah.
So or chopsticks, actually, not tweezers. Weren't they chopsticks or something? Anyway, the way he was handling those tiny, tiny little seedlings. Now here's what they look like. Isn't that amazing, you guys? What kind of tomatoes are these?
They're a mix. They're mostly plum tomatoes, but there's some salad tomatoes in there too.
All right, so fingers crossed, you guys, we can actually make sauce this year with these. We'll show you our recipe. We actually do it a little bit differently. We actually use crock pots to do it, and we let it simmer like all day long in crock pots. Okay, these eggplant are outstanding. Martha Stewart's got nothing on us. I'm gonna say us, I really mean John. I don't do any of this, you guys. This is completely none of my work. I've done zero. So these are all eggplant and peppers.
Yep.
Look how neat that is. Look at, there's just, now all this was just compost that we had from last year.
Yeah, they're
from our composters.
When they were the original cedar raised beds, the dirt only came up to about 6 inches from the top, and we've been filling in with shredded leaves from the fall every year.
So this is the project that he's talking about he did this year. So these used to just be wood, and now they're this galvanized, I don't know, is it galvanized? Galvanized roofing, and you have to cut it down, and that's what he's got supporting. It's still wood behind here. You guys can see it's still wood, but there's this galvanized roofing metal on it now. All right, so now we've got moving all into the eggplant bed. Wow. Now, are these the traditional Are these going to be ghost ones, like white, or are they purple
They're
or
all they're like a lavender color.
lavender color? All right. And are they the shorter, big, fat ones or the longer, thin ones?
Mostly the shorter, big, fat
Oh
ones.
God, I love eggplant, you guys. We love eggplant. We eat it like every week, all the time. And then this is basil. We already have I've already been eating or using basil, I should say. These are the smaller baby plants. Up on the deck, there's a really big plant. This is an asparagus. We have yet to really grow an asparagus corner with anything. My parents have some asparagus, enough to eat. They have purple and green, I think. Yeah, so they've got a lot. This bed right here is, if you guys remember when I showed John and I getting like, what are they, 5-gallon buckets or whatever? We were filling up buckets full of the town wood chips. So we have a wood chip pile in town and you can take them for free. And so this is what John ended up planting in this bed. Look how healthy these plants look. So what kind of tomatoes? You said those are the ones you're most proud of. Again, these are all herbs. So
Well, I'm just happy that they did so well in the wood chips, you know, that it worked out well.
okay, you guys, I'm taking my life in my hands. Like, don't freak out, but there's snakes around here. Don't freak out. It's a thing. They just love like a rocky area.
Look at
Anyway,
all the pears on the pear tree.
where? Which is the pear tree?
The tall one straight ahead of you.
So not that one.
Yeah, that one.
So this one's straight ahead of me. All right, so this one right here. All right, let's see if we can zoom in. I very rarely walk out back here. Yeah, no, I can't zoom it in enough to actually. Okay, we'll do that. We'll take a clip of it.
They're all little right now, but they're like a fancy.
All right, you guys, we're walking down here. Oh my God. Oh,
You can see the red of the pears. They're like the pear you get in gift baskets.
hold please. We'll be right there. All right, now we can get a better look at what John is talking about. I'm only going to get so close. You can bring the branch down
They're right in
closer.
front of you.
No.
See the little red pears?
Oh my God, you guys, we've never, look at this.
See them over here?
Over here. Oh my God. Yes, yes. Okay, we're so excited. They're all over. He's totally right. Okay,
Yeah, slowly with them.
so, okay. The reason why we're so excited, okay, mainly me,
Mostly you.
is because we have never had a really good harvest off of any of these fruit trees. And he's had these fruit trees for so long. You guys can see, I've showed all these. Nectarine. This one's an apple one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know I've showed my parents' orchard. They some years get some like bushels, but the thing is with them is they have to fight the bears for their fruit. They'll literally have a bear come and sit underneath their tree and eat all the fruit and literally pass out like full and drunk on fruit. It's hilarious. If I can get some on camera this year, I'll try. But anyway, so yeah, we got pears. What about apples? Do you see any hope on this tree?
No, didn't look like a good year for apples. I didn't see flowers this year.
All right, and what about the nectarine?
That thing always makes nectarines.
Yeah.
Try and stop it from making nectarines.
All right, well, so we have pears. It's official. Let's hope that they mature. All right, this is what the greenhouse looks like after it has served its purpose and grown all of our seedlings. It's completely empty. As you can see, look at this chaos of, this is a sign of really hard work. John absolutely loves gardening. He clearly has a lot of skills, and he has planted every single seedling that he started out of this greenhouse up into all these beds. And I hope that we get a really good harvest this year. I will definitely keep you guys updated. All right, well, that is everything I have for you for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me shop for high-end, vintage, modern, elegant aesthetic. It's definitely an emerging aesthetic, if you call it that, but it's definitely popular. A lot of people are looking for mix and match pieces, high-end, low-end, real antique, vintage pieces and modern pieces, mixing them all together. I think a lot of people do like that blended look, and I find that when I merchandise all these items in my store for that blended look, because I sell both, it definitely sells well. I see lots of people, when they make a purchase with me at my store, they will be purchasing authentic vintage pieces with modern pieces with every intention of mixing them together, and I think it's a great aesthetic. I really love it. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, a like. That really helps small creators like me grow on YouTube. And of course, if you're subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, well, give it a try. Maybe you'll really like seeing all the different videos we put forth. Yeah, I'm a professional reseller. I own my own boutique, and I do sell clothing as well. I don't normally feature clothing, but if you guys want to see more, I don't do vintage, I do modern clothing. That's how I definitely make most of my living. But if you're interested to see other things like clothing, once in a while I do find some really beautiful pieces when I'm out thrifting. I'd be happy to show you those too. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon. Happy thrifting. Good luck. I hope you guys find awesome treasures while you're out there, and I'll see you again real soon.